Okay, so I'm trying to get to a lot of questions that I've been asked or inquiries that have been brought into Chakra Center just about what Chakra Center is, who I am, which I'm Amanda, by the way, the creator of Chakra Center. Um, it tends to attract a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life, even though, interestingly enough, most of the material seems very new agey. But we do get people from lots of different walks of life who ask a lot of different types of questions. And so I just wanted to address some of those questions just so people can get to know me better, get to know Chakra Center better, get to know the staff or the contributors at Chakra Center, and understand our intention more. And just so you know, one of the features that I'm going to be implementing at Chakra Center is we are going to be having Google Hangouts recorded with me and contributors who write for Chakra Center, and then we'll have special guests as well. And that'll be something, a way for people to get to know the community of Chakra Center and to help you people put sort of faces and personalities to articles that you're reading. But right off, I just want to say I started Chakra Center just as a place to sort of compile all the things that I'm interested in. And obviously spirituality is a big part of my life. And I hate using the word spirituality because it makes it sound like, it makes it sound as if it's separate than the rest of your life. But really it's all the same thing. But for the sake of clarification, things that are esoteric in nature and have to do with growing and expanding our spirit and just our awareness of life and of just, life. I don't know any other word for it. All those things are very interesting to me. But at the same time, I'm extremely interested in the physical dimension and why we're here. And the reason why I call Chakra Center is because I feel like the chakras in essence correspond to all the different energies in your body, from your root chakra to your crown chakra. So in essence, it can incorporate and apply to anything that has to do with being alive and being human, whether it's something physical like food or economics or anything like that to something that's spiritual. So it encompasses everything. I don't really want to go into like the whole details of my personal journey, which I'm going to post another video that I posted for my Writing to Heal class that is more of an intro to me personally. So I will also post that. That's actually me talking where you can see my face. It's not just an audio. So I'll post that to help people get to know me better, and you will be seeing more videos from me in the future. Not just me, but from all the contributors at Chakra Center. But yeah, Chakra Center in general is just a place for everyone, and a place to awaken the whole you, and hopefully a place where a lot of different voices can be heard. Now, I do get questions and inquiries about whether I'm a Christian or not, which is a really interesting question, and it's something I've avoided answering because I don't like definitions, and I think they can pigeonhole people. But I'm going to talk about that because it definitely speaks to one of the reasons why I created Chakra Center. And that is that I grew up as a Christian. I grew up in a very religious background, actually in Utah. Started out kind of Mormon, and then my mom became a born-again Christian when I was quite young, right before I would have been baptized in the Mormon church. So I actually was never officially baptized Mormon, but I grew up going to a Christian church. And I will say that Christianity served a lot in my life. It helped me grow and expand. It taught me about love and forgiveness, and that I was accepted. But ironically, at the same time, I was very confused by the message of that I was broken and in need of a savior. And I know that saying anything to the contrary of that to a Christian is quite blasphemous. But how I interpreted that message and how I internalized that message growing up was that I was a worthless piece of crap, and that God just decided he would love me because Jesus asked him to, but not because I was worthy of love in any way. And the thing that even though I knew, and I heard many Christians and many people talk about how that wasn't the case, that never left me. And Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, well into my adulthood, still being Christian and very dedicated to that, I never felt like I got past that. nor do I ever feel like the message for me ever expanded beyond that. I felt like in my spiritual path and in my walk with God, so to speak, I only within the parameters of a belief system like Christianity, only was able to go so far, and then I was just blocked. There was just nothing else. It was just, I didn't feel like I was growing. I didn't feel like I was moving beyond just every Sunday hearing how, well, you're a sinner, but if you accept Christ, then you start walking with God, and it just it just didn't. It got to a point where I just felt like I wasn't growing, and not only that, I just didn't. I with all the expansion that had happened in my heart through many things that went on in my life, where I truly was at rock bottom and truly had to seek something higher than me, my higher self or God, and I that is when I truly learned about the love of God. That's when I truly learned that God is love. That's when I truly learned love. And when I truly learned what true intimacy and love was. And when I learned that, the message that you're broken and separated and you can only be accepted through a person, through Jesus, that no longer sat with me. I didn't believe it. I mean, it just came down to the bottom line is I didn't believe it, because when I was at my most broken, when I was pretty much an atheist and no longer believed in God because of just so much that I went through in my life, that is when love found me, and love never asked me to believe in a certain person or a certain thing or get to act a certain way or join a certain church or be anything. It just loved. God just loved me. And that transformed my entire life, and it transformed my entire mind, and it transformed my entire belief system. And I for the rest of my life will always be in pursuit of that kind of love, the kind of love that has no boundaries. And I don't mean I mean no conditions, that's a better word. The kind of love that has no conditions. Really true unconditional love, which is not the love that I met when I learned about a God who was separate from me and kind of angry in a sense. This is again how I interpreted it, and was only interested in me through another person. Like I couldn't directly know God without Jesus. Now, interestingly enough, Jesus is one of my best friends and still my guide, and I have a deep relationship with Jesus. But I don't believe that fundamental message that you're separate and that you have to ask Jesus into your heart in order to be saved. That's not something that I believe. That's not something that I would I mean, that's just my personal, that's not what I believe. It's something that I did believe at one time and I don't anymore. So for some people, that's their definition of Christianity. And in that sense, in that definition, I would say, no, I'm not a Christian. According to that definition. So it definitely, for people who, do have a lot of Christian readers, and I know that there's things that I say that may feel a little uncomfortable for them because if it's not completely surrounded with Jesus. But I do talk about Jesus, and I write about Jesus, and I've written articles about my personal relationship with Jesus. And so I think that's perhaps why I have some people who are Christians that come to the blog and read about it, and are inspired and have told me so. But I truly believe when I truly really felt like I got to know who Jesus was, I saw that he was a man who always pointed people to their inner kingdom. He would say the kingdom of God is within you. He always empowered people. He always told them they had what they needed within them. He never asked anybody to worship him. And he never said he never asked for glory. And he usually when he would heal people, he would say, "Don't tell anybody about this." And he would say, "Your faith healed you." And I think there's a lot of, in my life, a lot of things with Christianity, with traditional Christianity that really caused roadblocks in my relationship with God, really big ones that took me a long time to overcome. But the thing is, when you're free, when you finally are set free from things that keep you separate. That's the interesting thing. In a sense, you are separate because your beliefs keep you separate. And there's a very real sense of being separate from God, being separate from light, feeling cut off. And we are cut off from that by our beliefs. We believe we're separate. We believe we're unworthy. So it's this kind of contradiction in terms when you say that, because by saying that you're making that your reality. You're making it the truth. But essentially, I see it as, and what I feel like I learned is that it can't possibly be the truth, because if I can be, at times in my life when I was the most cut off, so to speak, from God, the least, I didn't want anything to do with even anyone saying the word God. It made me want to vomit, because I had just been through so much, and I just felt so much hurt and anger with religion. But at that time, when I was at my absolute lowest and wanting nothing to do with God, that is when I experienced God the most, when I experienced love the most. So I don't believe it's possible to be separate from God, because you couldn't live otherwise. And you couldn't live. It's impossible. You wouldn't be able to breathe. You wouldn't be able to live unless we cease to exist in this dimension and all other dimensions. You are a part of God. God is the very spark that gives you life. It's in God you move and live and have your being, and it's love, it's light. And what you may be cut off from that, you may not be letting it flow into your life, and you may not believe it, or you may not be receiving it. But God lives within you. Period. And when I truly learned what God was, what love was, when I was at rock bottom, it was not from something external. It was internal. It was within me. And I will never go back to that limiting belief system again, where God is, and where love is represented as something outside of you, and something you must seek, and something you must say some magic words to receive. So anyway, I hope that answers people's questions about my personal beliefs. I don't know why I felt compelled to answer that one, but there you go. And I will be answering more questions as the day goes along.